Okay, we're up to good luck, everybody. We're up to Tzadik Dalit Amid Beis. Tzadik Dalit Amid Beis. We are how many lines from the bottom? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Huna, right after the parentheses. So we're in the sugya of Sanhedrin going to destroy Yerushalayim. As we're going to see tonight, a nest happens and he loses his whole army. He's left with his machlokes, whether 10 people or 9 people or 14 people, but he's not left with many. An amazing nest that happened to Chizkiyo in the Schus of Torah. Ein nimsar amayet by Torah biyad mi amatzik lo. We said, Amar Rav Huna, esem asois nasa oisa rasha b'oisa yoin. Says Rav Huna, 10 travels, literally travels, he traveled that day when he went to go ahead and capture Yerushalayim. In other words, he's going to, went from the Asar Shvatim, and he's going to capture Yerushalayim, and Imamish, 10 Nisoyas he traveled. And let's count them. It's important. Shnemar, Bo al Ayos is 1. Avar b'migroin, he passed through Migroin. Migroin's 2. Lemichmash Yafkid Kalov, he placed his Kalim in Michmash, is 3. Avru Mabara, he passed over Mabara, is 4. Geva Molinlan, they would have lodged in Geva, is 5. Charda Harama, Rama was scared, is 6. Givat Shol Nasa is 7. Sali Koilech Basgalim is 8. And Hakshivi Laisha is 9. Ania Nasais, Pora Nasais is 10. Nadadon Madmema has moved, is 11. Yoshvei gave him Azu, and the people who gave him, they came together. So that's a total of 12. And then the pasuk concludes, Oida Yoim b'noiv lamoid. We'll hang on to Noiv for a second. Now, Hani Tuva Hani. Fred the Gemara, the obvious question, once we did the math, it's not 10, it's 12. It's right, it's 12. Says the Gemara, Sali Koilech Basgalim Novihu de Amalol Knesset Yisrael. When it said Basgalim, cry out Basgalim, it's not speaking about what? About a place he'd been. It's the Navi telling that they should daven, that we should daven. So Sali Koilech Basgalim is literally the daughter of Galim. Gal is a wave. Bita Shel Avram Yitzchak v'Yaakov, the Knesset Yisrael, which is the daughter of Avram Yitzchak and Yaakov. She'asu mitzvahs kigali ayom. So Galim is a lashon that we do like the Galim, like the waves of the sea. We do mitzvahs. We should cry out to be saved. So that deducts 1 from the 12, guys. Bas Galim is not in the count of 10. We deduct that. So now we have 11. Hakshivi Laisha. It goes, listen to Elisha. So Mahai loin tistafi, meaning don't be scared of Sancheriv. Ela istafi min Nebuchadnezzar harasha the mithkal ba'arye. You should be scared of Nebuchadnezzar, who's compared to a lion. And the word Laisha means lion over here. Shenemar ole arye misufchoy. And the Gemara is going to ask, how do you know Laisha is a lion? So now we have, guys, we're good. We have a total of 10. We deducted Baskalim and we deducted what? Laisha. Fed the Gemara Amid Aleph. My aniya anasais. What do you mean anasais is poor? Asid Yemiyo ben Chilkiyo umisnave alome anasais. He's going to come and he's going to go ahead, and Yemiyo is going to say nevuah from anasais. And his nevuah, of course, is that the base Hamikdash is going to be destroyed. I'm going to go to Galus. Dichsiv divrei Yemiyo ben Chilkiyahu min hakohanim asher ba'anasais be'eretz binyamin. Okay, so now we have now l'chayra. We have a total of 9. Guys, we deduct from the 12. We deducted Baskalim, Layosh, and Anasais. We deducted 3. We'll get back to the Kasha. But in the Lefun Redditor, as we were reading the Gemara, we said Layosh is a lion. Where do you get that from? Where do you get Layosh is a lion, right? Layosh sounds like some Hungarian name. Layosh. Anyway, so the Gemara says that Midami Hasam Ari Hachalayosh. By Nebuchadnezzar, it says that the lashon was Ale Aryeh Misuvchay. The lion's going to go up from its den or where it's stick. It's where it's hiding. So l'chayra, what does it mean? What does it mean that Eliash? How do you call it a lion? So Rabbi Yochanan says, Rabbi Yochanan, Shisha Shemus Yesh Lari. Lari has not 6 names. Ari is 1, Kfir is 2, Lavi is 3, Layish, there it is, what we need is 4, Shachal is 6, and 5, and Shachatz is 6. So Memela, right now we have 3 extra names, Paskalim, Layosh, and Anasais. Fred the Gemari Haki, Batzrulahu. If those 3 are counted, L'chayri, you only have what? You only have 9. And for the Gemara, Avru Ma'abra Tartin. We only counted Ma'abra as what? As one, as he's passing through Ma'abara, but in fact it's two places, Avru and Ma'abara, and they count them as two, and therefore you have 10. Okay. My oid hayom b'noiv lamoid. The end of the pasuk said, "My oid b'yom hayom b'noiv lamoid." Oisa hayom nishtaya me avoina. Amrav Huna. Oisa hayom nishtaya me avoina shel noiv. That day is nishtaya left over the oven of noiv that you possibly could go ahead on and take retribution. Okay, guys, a little eye contact, a little story time. We know that Shaul lost the Malchus. David had been crowned king. The Ruach Gevur LeMalchus left Shaul, and there was a jealousy between Shaul and David. Shaul felt to David, he innately felt that David was the king. In other words, so naturally there was a feeling of jealousy towards him. Now, if you halachically, there's no bigger Morid b'Malchus than a king that was anointed a king in the lifetime of a king. So Shaul, in his mind, Shaul had every right to chase after David. And it was part of David's nisayon, as we know in his life, to go experience what he experienced, to write what he did. Shaul was guilty of a few averis. The Gemara in Yuma, Daf Chav Aleph, Daf Chav Beis, tell us that Shaul ba'achas v'olzaloi, he lost the Malchus, David b'shtayim v'layolzaloi. Shaul was a tzaddik yisrael olam. As we saw previously, Shaul, we went through that Shmuel said, next you're going to be in the same Olam Haba as myself. Shaul was guilty of not killing Agag. He was first guilty of not waiting for Shmuel to come and bring Karbanis before he went to war. But the one Avera that he did that cost him his life was Nov. What happened was the following. At a Suda of Morish Chodesh, David did not show up. And on the second day, Shaul felt the first day maybe he was tamei, and Shaul was makbet chulin b'tayra, so maybe he was its full yoim and he couldn't eat. And the second day when he didn't show up, he wanted to know what happened to him. And Yehonasan stood up for him, and Shaul gave it to Yehonasan. He threw a spear at him. He said that, as long as he's alive, your Malchus, you're not going to be the next king. And that's the haftarah of Macha Chodesh. Comes David, Yonasan, David's best friend, leaves in a huff. He runs. He had made a deal with David. David was hiding in a field. And they meet. Yehonasan, in his rush, did not bring any food. He did not bring any food. David is starving. He comes to a city that was Ir Kohanim. Very geschmack, fellas. The Kohanim would live alone in cities because of Tumah V'Taira. They had to be makbid in Tumah V'Taira. They lived alone in cities. So he comes to the city called Novir Kahanim. In fact, in the Nov, one of the Mishkan was in Nov and Givon. And he comes there, and Achimelech, the Kohen Gadol, is carrying, I think, the lechem upon him, actually. And he says, you can eat it, it's lechem kodesh. And he says, I'm starving, I'm dying from bulmis. Anyway, he gives food and sustenance to David, who is considered by Shaul as a Mored B'Malchus. There in Nov, learning and davening, was Doeg HaAdomi, who we met in the Mishnah as one of the people as no chelik in Olam Haba. This is one of the reasons. He goes ahead and he observes. He tells Shaul that Achimelech, the king, is loyal to David because he gave him food and everything. He fails to tell him that David was suffering from bulmus, he was starving to death, and as a result, he tells Shaul to kill out this Novir Kahanim. Shaul turns to Avner and Amasa, and they refuse. They were generals, and they refused. He says, Doeg, you will Malshin, and Doeg wipes out the city. He kills the Kahanim. This was held against Klal Yisrael. This Aveir was held against Shaul. Shaul dies as a result. He's killed in battle with the Plishtim. Yehonasan's killed in battle. His two other sons are killed in battle as a result of Nov. And this right now, the pasuk that describes that the connection between Sanhedrin and Nov, guys, there was a window that if he would have gone ahead and attacked Yerushalayim, he would have been victorious. There was a window, a small window, as we're going to see from the Gemara. And that window was the retribution for what occurred to Nov. So now the pasuk says, "My od hayom." Let's see inside now. My od hayom b'nov lamod. What does it mean that wasn't cherev? Right? What do you mean he wants to stand in Nov? Amrav Huna. Oisa hayom nishtario me'avoina shel Nov. That day, in other words, that was the day you could go ahead and take retribution for what happened to Nov. Omrile Kaldoi. So the stargazers, the people who went ahead and read the stars, they told Sancheriv, if you attack Yerushalayim today, you'll be able to be victorious. If not, you won't be able to get it. So this is the day to get there. Usually it takes 10 days to get there. Saga b'chayomi got there in 1 day. Mamish, tfitzas haderech. Kimati Yerushalayim, when they get to Yerushalayim, shodei bistarki, they went ahead and they put rugs one on top of the other. This was the way of Sancheriv going on top of the rug to look into Yerushalayim. Adesolik v'yosef mi ilave shura, until he was able to go ahead and sit on top to see above the shura, the walls of the city. Adechazyu lekul Yerushalayim, he saw all Yerushalayim. Kichazyu, when he looked at the city, izuta meine, it appeared to him as very, very small. So Amar Halot Da, he kata the Yerushalayim. This is the famous Yerushalayim. The Allah Argishes Kol Mashirasi, that I went ahead because of this. I got all my army to get it. It's not going to be a big deal. But Allah Kivashes Komitinta, and in order to conquer them, I conquered all these countries. Allah, he's the Ira B'chalash. It's a weak, small place. Mikol Krachim Yaya, the Kivashes B'Tkofiyadi. And it's I've done much more than conquer this place. I was conquer these countries and cities. All of it come and made the Beresha. He went ahead, he was sitting there, and he started shaking his head to Yerushalayim. Moivulu Maisi Biyade, Altur Beis Migdash to Tzia, and he started waving his hand to the Beis Hamikdash, Azar to the Yerushalayim, and the what, and the Azores of the Beis Hamikdash. Amri, the soldiers told him, Nishtei Bei Yoda Ha'idna, let's go right now. Nishtei, let's throw our hands right now. Now let's attack. Again, they're very tired. They're very tired. They travel the distance in 10 days. So in 1 day, they travel the distance of 10 days. They're very tired, but nonetheless, the soldiers said, let's attack. Tamisiu. So Amalahu, Tamisiu said, Sancheriv, you're too tired. We can't listen, we have plenty of time. We'll get there tomorrow. He missed his time, right? He missed his time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu always has a way of making him miss the time, right? Miss the time. One of my favorite Hashgacha Prata stories is Hitler Yamach Shemo attacking Russia. It doesn't make any sense. It made no sense. He goes back and attacks Russia to fight. He was so successful on the Western Front, and all of a sudden, he has to get the communists. And that cost him the war. As soon as he attacked Russia, for all intents and purposes, it was just a matter of time, but it was all over. Why? Just to get the Jews in Russia. Okay, because Baruch has a way of moving it. L'macha aisile kol chad v'chad minaychu gulme hare minay. Says Sancheriv, listen, tomorrow, each one of you, you'll take a brick of the city and bring it to me. Miyad, it says, Vayhi b'layla hahu, Vayetzi Malach Hashem goes out, Vayach b'machna Ashur, Mea shmoinim v'chamisha olef. Do the math, 185,000 men. Mea, right? Shmoinim, V'chamisha Aleph, 185,000 men. Vayashkimu baboike, whoever was left alive gets up in the morning. V'hine kulam pigarim mason, they're all dead. That's it. You had your chance to attack Yerushalayim, you didn't. The Malach goes out, and they're all finished. Amrav Papa, Hainu Dami Inshi. That's right. It's funny in this parak, guys, how many sayings that people used to say, right? They're all to us foreign, but I know the Amri Inshi. What did they say? Basdina Bataldina, right? That Basdina Bataldina. If you go ahead and delay an action against the case, this is what happens. So you delayed attacking Yerushalayim and Shoin, right? Now, since you mentioned Nov, the Gemara now is going to bring a very, very, very cryptic incident. Crazy incident. I'll give you a little background. Rus had a sister, Orpah. We know that the night that Orpah separated from Rus, she went from Rus elevated, and Orpah fell into the pits. She went from a possibility of being a Geiris to being a Zaina. Terrible what she did that. Tell her very she did that night. However, she walked 4 steps with Naomi. In the schus of those 4 steps, she had four sons. Let me tell you they are. Yishvi, Saf, Ish Madon, he had 6 fingers on both hands, and someone named Goliath. Those are the Goliath, people know it. David killed his cousin. Goliath was Harpah, and David was the descendant of Rus. So really, it's amazing. So in that schus she had 4. The Navi cryptically describes an incident with Yishvi, and this is the incident brought down over here. And the whole reason he brought it down over here because Yishvi was from Nov. So it's a digression of a digression, but that's what Agartha is. Says the Gemara Vaita. The Yishbi ben Nov asher b'yelidei harafa. Yishbi from Nov, he was from the children of Harafa. Again, this is Arpa. Umishkal kenei shlosh me'as mishkal nechayshas. He must have been a giant because his arrowhead weighed 300 shkalim of nechayshas. And it was a gezunta arrow, a spear. Buchager chadasha, and he had brand new armor. By Yom Elahaka says David, he wanted to go ahead and kill David, but the Navi tells us that Avishai came. Avishai ben Tzuruya, that was David's nephew. Guys, Tzuruya was David's sister. Avishai ben Tzuruya was his nephew. He came and he helped David, and they killed this guy Yishvi. Here's the story of how they killed Yishvi. My Yishvi ben Noiv, Amrav Yudam Arav, Ish Sheboy Aliske Noiv, Ish Yishbi Noiv. This was a person, not that he was born in Nov, but he came to take retribution from David for David going to Nov. Again, the Gemara, guys, considers Yehonasan guilty for not bringing food, David for endangering him. Everyone's guilty there in Nov. So when it says Yishvi ben Nov, Yishvi came to go ahead and take retribution for David, not that Yishvi came from Nov, concerning what David did concerning Nov. Geshmak. That's what the Gemara tells us. Now, how long can I keep this Aveira in your hands? We know that the Kadosh Baruch Hu goes ahead and cleanses tzaddikim in this world. So they should go ahead, and in the next world be totally rain in the oil man neshamas. Yeah, nothing. Can't hear you. We can't hear you.
What did David do wrong? He was dying.
What?
What did David do wrong?
Again, he was starving.
He knew he was a Meir b'Malchus?
Why? He was running from... David did nothing wrong. He was Meir. Hashem made him the king. But again, this is the Nidan on David. Probably, I always say, David had to live a life to write Sefer Tehillim. And therefore, he had to be on the run, and he wrote so many things as a result of this. So we know exactly if guys are fugitive, you turn to a perik and then base. There's David had to live this life, so he had experienced everything. Now, why he's held guilty by Nov is interesting because Yehonasan also didn't give him food, and he went there. You see that a lot of people held guilty what happened to Nov. A lot of people. So this is I notice I'm going to take clear of you. I'm going to clean you. It was you that caused Nover Kahanim. You didn't want to do it, right? I think the Magolia Sayyam says that had David told Achimelech the truth, that he's on the run, maybe he wouldn't have helped him. In other words, he withholding information, perhaps that would answer your question. So Amalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu David, Ad Masayah Oven Zet Tama B'Yadcha, Al Yadcha Nergan Aver Kahanim, V'Al Yadcha Nitra Doeg Adoimi. And guess what? Doeg, who's the biggest scholar in Klal Yisrael, as a result, killing Nov, he doesn't exist anywhere. V'Al Yadcha Nergu Shol Shleishes Banav, and Shol and his 3 sons were killed. With Saincha, I give you a choice. Hashem gives David a choice. With Saincha Yachal Zaracha, but he must be Yad Oyev. Do you want your children to be decimated, or do you want you to fall into the hands of the enemy? What would David say? You know what he would say. Better I fall into the hands of my enemy, and I should not go ahead and my family be destroyed. So one day David went hunting. The Satan came and he looked like a deer. David shot an arrow, but it didn't reach the deer. Mashche, he did another one, and kept on chasing after this deer. Adam Amte Eretz Pelishtim, till he finally got to Eretz Pelishtim. When Yishvi saw him, hey, this is the guy who killed my brother Goliath. Right? He was his brother. So what did he do? Kafte and Kamte. Yishvi went ahead and he tied up David and Kamte, and he folded him over. And Oisve Vishadye Tute Bebadye, he put him in the bottom of an olive press, and he sat on top. He was going to crush David to death. Isaber, then this happened, And machale ara mitutoi, the ground underneath where David was, that was being pressed down by this tall guy, it turned very soft and it mushed him in. So hainu dechsiv tarchiv tzadi tachtoi. You made me you made me walk quickly. V'leimadu karsulei, and my ankles didn't give way. Okay. Anyway. Hainu Yuma Apanya Demali Shabbat. That day was when David was captured was what? Was Erev Shabbos. Avishai ben Tzuruya Havi Kochoyef Reishay Ba'arba Garvei Demaya. Avishai, the son of Tzuruya, again, he was busy going ahead and he was washing his hair for Shabbos and he was using four grivim of water. And again, these are all allegories. Each one stands for something else. Chazinu Kismei Dama. What he saw was in the water there was blood. The army, some say that a yoina came and began, shaking in front of him. Amar Avishai said to himself, "Knesset Yisrael yoina imsila. Knesset Yisrael is compared to a yoina. Shenemar kanfe yoina nechbach bekesef is covered with kesef. Shmamina David Malka Yisrael b'tzari shari. This is a simon that David's in gehakta tzaris. Also lebeise Avishai came into David's house. Le'ashkin didn't find him, so he didn't know what to do. So Amar Tanan. Ein Reichman al Susai, I can't ride on the king's horse. Ein Yoshvan al Kiso, I can't sit on his throne. Ein Mishtamshin b'Savitu, I can't use the scepter. We all learned this in Daf Yomi early in the Masechta. V'shasa sakana mai. What about a sakana? In other words, like I can take this horse, I can get going. Asa Shal ben Midrash, he came to the base Medrash Amalei. They said b'shasa sakana shabbat. Shasa sakana, it's permitted. So Rachvei lepirdei v'kamolah. David then took Avishai took David's preda, that's his mule, and kaftzlei ara. And he had kvitzas derech, and he got there. It's Pelishtim. Bahadi the Kamaske, and as he was riding along, Avishai chazi la arpa ime. Guys, can you see? It went from harpa to arpa. Guys, before it was harpa, now it's arpa. Right now, chazi charpa ime. The mother of Yishvi saw him. The have navla, and she was going ahead. She was like they used to have a spindle. They would spin things. Ki chazi, when she saw Avishai, paskasa lepilche. She went ahead and she broke the pilcha and shadei lavehestis was like a sharp thing. She threw it to kill him. Saval amikdale, and he amalei, and she said to Avishai, and I guess she wasn't successful. She said to Avishai, Olam, young fellow, isolate pelach, bring me back my pelach. So anyway, he said fine, and paska v'reisha mocha v'kadle. He went ahead, he threw it at her and killed her. So Avishai is the one who killed Arpa. So now you know what happened to Arpa, her faith. Kachaze Yishvei Benov, when Yishvei saw Avishai, Mahashta have a Beitroin, it's going to be 2 against 1. The Kotlili, and they're going to get me. So what do? He figures he'll get to kill David before Avishai gets there. So Paskil David Leilei, he threw David up into the air. Vidots Leila Rumche, and he put in the ground a spear that David should fall in the spear. Nipol Allah v'nikdal, he said David should fall in the spear and be killed. Amar Avishai shame. Avishai said this is all, guys. One line in Navi says Avishai killed Yishbi. That's the only thing it says in the Navi, that Avishai killed Yishbi. This is mamish the Divrei Nevi'us, what went on over here. That the Tanoim revealed to us. Anyway, Amar Avishai shame. Avishai said the shame on Mefirish. Ukmei le David ben Shemaya la'ara, and David was what? He was suspended between Shemaya and Baaretz. V'nei meluhu ihu. Fred the Gemara. Why did Avishai have to do it? Why can David say the Shem HaMefirish? Says Gemara in Chavish Moitziatz Beis HaSurim. A person who's in the Beis HaSurim, he needs someone else to break him out. He can't break himself out. So Amalei, David is hanging around. Avishai says to David, "My boy Yisach, what are you doing here?" He's hanging around, and this is what he says to him. "What are you doing here?" So Amalei, David said, "Hachi Amali Kutsha Brichu, v'Hachi Hadrelei." He gave me a choice to fall into my hands of my enemy, or my children should be destroyed. I opted for the enemy. So Amalei Avishai said, Apich Tzeluse, go ahead and daven differently. In other words, that your family should be destroyed and rather you. Bar Baruch Kirach Lizvin Va'atloi Titzara. Let your grandson, right? He'd be a seller of wax, he should be poor, right? But you shouldn't suffer. So Amalei David said to him, Hachi Sayo Bahadan. So he says, if that's the case, get me out of here. So Hani Dechsiv Vayazloi Avishai ben Tzuruya, and this is what the Nabi says. Aviyah ben Tzuruya helped David. Amar Yehuda Marav, She'azu b'tefila, that Avishai helped David by davening. Amar Avishai Shem v'achte. Avishai then said the shame a second time, and that caused David to come down and I guess he wasn't. They began chasing after this guy. Yishvi, Kimat the Kube, when David and Abishai reached Kube, which was a town. Amri Kumbe, I guess the Lashon Kumbe, you put the word Kumbe, let's get up and get him. Right? Kumbe, let's get up and get him. Oh no, they didn't chase after him. Oh, excuse me. Avishai was chasing after those two. He was chasing after, Yishvi was chasing after David and Avishai. I said it the opposite. No. They decided enough of this. Kumbe, let's get up and go against them. Himate betray Amri. They said let's and then they got to a place called betray Gurian Katlula Arye. Two young lions can kill a big lion. So therefore we can get him. Amrulay, they said to Yishvi, Zil ishtachech la'arpa ime bekivra. Go bury your mother. Go find your mother. She's dead. When they mentioned Harper's name, he for a second he I guess he felt Chalishas Hadas, and they were able to kill him. So that's the story of David escape from Yishvi. And Hainu Dechsiv as Nishbru Anshe David Loy Lamar. This is the pasuk says if after they found out what happened to David, his soldiers made him swear Loy Seitzi Oidi Tunnel Muhammad. No longer you're going to come at us in war. Like Sachbes Na Yisrael, that the Na Yisrael should not be put out. So therefore that's the story over there. So this is a nest using the shame. So we saw for Avishai that he was able to get there. It's Pelishtim very quickly. And there are other times we find what's called Kfitzas HaDerech. What are they? We find by Eliezer Eved Avram, when he went to get a shidduch for Yitzchak, Yaakov Avinu, Avishai ben Tzruya. Those are the three. It says no, Avishai ben Tzruya Hodam Maran. Avishai ben Tzruya, what we just mentioned, he went to Eretz Pelishtim very quickly. I came today to the well. L'nemra dahu yumanafik. In other words, that's the day he left, and that's the day he came. So he had kfitzas aderech. Yaakov Avinu amid beis. Yaakov Avinu had no kfitzas aderech. Dichsiv vayetzi Yaakov ve'ashava vayel lecharana. Vayifka uksiv vayifka b'makom vayolam sham kivo hashemesh. Now it says that what it says what so it says. Rashi says Alma top Rashi right Alma bol Charan. It says he came to Charan. Uksiv vayifka b'makom shadayim le'yigil lecharan shayadayim b'beisel. It says vayetzi Yaakov ve'ashava vayel lecharana. Yet he didn't get to Charan yet. He was in Beisel. So what happened? So the Torah tells us when he got to Charan, he said, is it possible I'm going to go and pass over the place, the Makom HaMikdash, where my forefathers davened, and I won't daven there. So he says, I have to go back to Beisel. So Boy Lamahadar, he decided to go back to Beisel, and Kivin the hero b'da'ater Lamahadar, as soon as he thought about it, it happened. Koptz Yaridalin, and says Vayifka b'makom, and he met there. So he was in Charan, he came to Charan. How does he end up in Beisel from Charan, guys? Because he had Kfitzas Aderech. Davar Acher, Ein Pigia Elo Tefillah. Lashon Vayifka is Lashon word of Tefillah. Shneimar, V'yata Al Tispalel Ba'adam Hazeh, V'al Tisa Ba'adam Rina Utfila, V'al Tifkim Bi, and don't go ahead and daven towards me. V'yolan Sham Kiva Hashemesh, Basid Tzali Bolim Mahada. Now that when Yaakov decided to go ahead and he davened there, why did he sleep there? Why did he go to sleep there? Yes, what happened was after he davened, he was going back to Charan. Amakodesh Baruch Hu. Tzaddik said, "Bola Beis Meloini." This tzaddik is coming to my house, meaning to the Beis Hamikdash. How can I let him leave without lodging there? Miyad bo Hashemesh, Hashem made the sun set. Behind the Chsiv Vayisur Hashemesh, the sun rose for Yaakov when he passed Peniel. The Chiloi Bilvad Zarcha, affecting word that only rise for him, and the Chai rise for the whole world. Elam Rabbi Yitzchak Shemesh Sheba Bavuroi, the Shemesh that set for him Zarcha Bavuroi. Zarcha it went ahead and it shone for him. Again, he remembered Yaakov did the battle against it was Hinkedik, and he said the sun came up to cure him after the Malach hit him. When we know him, the color Zari did David. So David reversed his tefillah. And again, what was the choice, fellas? The choice was to have him being captured or his children being obliterated, and he opted initially for the first one, but now he reversed the tefillah. So what happened to him? It says there was a woman, Atalia. Okay, here's the story over here. Achazyahu was the king of Yehuda, and he was assassinated. Right, he was assassinated. He wasn't such a good king. So Atalia was Achazyahu's mother, and she figured she's going to go ahead and become the queen. So she killed out all the descendants of David. Right, she's killed all the descendants of David. So this is where it became David was HaKadosh Baruch Hu said you have to pay for Nov. This is what happened. Umenolim the kol is de David. Yichsiv v'Atalia aim Achazyahu. Atalia the mother of Achazyahu. Rasa kimes bina. She saw that her son was dead. V'Toka metabed is kol zera hamamlacha. She went and she obliterated. She destroyed all the children of descendants of David. Fred the Gemara v'Hashtayel Yoyash. It's not true. Yoyash remained alive. He was a baby. They hit him. It was a baby. They hit him. Says the Gemara Hasanami Yishtayav Yasa. So in other words, there was somebody who remained from Nov, guys. Mida Knega Mida. Since there was one person who remained from Nov, since David was being punished for Nov, there was one person left from David's mishpacha. Vayimali ben Echad Achimelech, who ben Achitov. Achimelech was the kohen who helped David, and of his they were all killed, but one person escaped, Ushmoy Avyasar, and his name was Avyasar. So since Avyasar escaped the destruction of Nov, fellas, and David was punished for the destruction of Nov, David had one descendant who survived, and that was Yoash. Amar of Yehuda Amarav. Il Mole Nishtar of Yasser Achimelech ben Achitov. If Avyasar did not remain alive, like Nishtayim Mizar Shel David Sriru Polit, there'd be no one left over from David's mishpacha. Amar of Yehuda Amarav. Okay, now we're getting back to the regular scheduled program. Let's have what happened with Sanhedrin, guys. Let's see what happened with Sanhedrin.
What did this Kayan do that he deserved to die?
What?
That he deserved to live?
Who, the Kayan?
Yeah.
Hashem allowed one kid to live, to escape, so David should have his... David, if Hashem would have killed him out, all of David's mishpacha went out. So he had one escape. HaKadosh Baruch Hu had one escape, so David would have one to life. Listen, we need to have Malchus based David descend from somebody. So I'm reviewed Amarav. Ba'aleim Sanhedrin for Russia. Sanhedrin came, but our boy, guys, we said 185,000. Listen to this. He comes with them, but our boyim 5,000 ish. B'bnei malachim yoshim b'kronos. Shel zahav. 45,000 princes. They were sitting in chariots made of gold. That's 45,000. V'imoyim shiglonos v'zainos. They had women with them. They were so sure of their victory, they brought the women along. Ubishmoinim elef giborim levushe Syrian kalipa, and 80,000 people wearing these coats, these armor. So 80,000 and 45,000 is 125,000. V'shishim elef achuzei cherev rotzim lefanav, 60,000 people with swords running in front of them. So you do the math, guys. 125,000 and 60,000. You get your 185,000. That's 185,000. The hashar Roshim, and the rest were cavalry, meaning there were more 185,000 I mentioned, but there were more killed. All these people that got killed. The Chemboy al Avraham, and so too a large when Avram went to battle against the four kings in Perik Yudalin and Bereshis. Avram goes to save Lot, who was with the four kings defeated the five kings. One of the five kings was Melech Sudaim, and Lot was living in Sudaim, so he goes to save Lot. So too a large amount of people, when it comes to Gog and Magog, is going to go ahead and attack the Jews. In a Brisa they said, Sanhedrin's army, they took up 400 parseis. The width of the horse, the necks of his horses was 40 parseis. The total number of the troops were Messiah Veshishim Riboy Alafim Chasachad. Okay, this is, guys, the math is 2,600,000,000 minus 1. It's not, it's a guzman, but it's a huge army. When it says minus 1, doesn't mean one doesn't mean 10,000. Doesn't mean 1,000. 100. 1. We don't know which one. Teku. A tana. Rishonim avru b'shechi. You want to get an idea how big this army was when they crossed the Yarden? The first one walked up. They walked up to. They walked up. They were shechi. They were swimming. Shenemar the cholaf b'Yehuda shota fa'avar, and Soyim, the second horde of troops, Avru b'koima. They were able to walk. They didn't have to swim. You know why? Because the first guys who swim, when they get out, they took so much, there were so many of them, they took water that was absorbed in their clothing. And therefore the second group was able to walk. They didn't have to swim. Now, Shenemar, at Savro Yagia, it reached to their necks. Acharoinim, the next horde, Helu Offer Bragleim. They didn't even have any water, right? Because the first two had taken out all the water, and when they were walking, Offer came up from their legs. There wasn't any water to drink. They had to bring water from another place. Shnemar, ani karti v'shasisi mayim. I dug with springs and I drank water. Okay, now it says Sanhedrin, it was over 2 million people, right? A huge amount. So how could it be that amount? V'chsiv v'yetzi malach Hashem v'yakim emachna asher meiu shmonim b'chamishim aleph. So it was 185,000, not so many, not billions. Those 185,000, they were the commanders. They were not the Washington commanders. They were the heads. So in other words, guys, it was much more than 185,000. It's crazy how many people died in this battle, which was not fought at all by the Jews. Ravashi, Dekanami Dechsiv, B'mishmanov Rozain. Hashem said, we saw this earlier, B'mishmanov Rozain. The mishmanov, the fat ones, Rozain, they'll be thin. What does that mean? Bashmenim de ispahu. Bashmenim de ispahu means Bashmenim, the fat ones, meaning the Sanhedrin armies, that means the head guys, right? Rozu, they'll be thinned out. Amravina, Dekanami Dechsiv, another diak that was more than 185,000. It says, Vayishlach Hashem Malach, Hashem sent the Malach, Vayached Kol Gibor Chayil, V'nogid, V'sar B'machne. He killed all these different people. Vayave Beis Elokov, U'mitziei Me'av Shom Hipilu B'chorev. He returned, Sanhedrin returned, he was a busha, and he came to his getchka. He came to his getchka, and what happened to him? Hipilu b'chorav. He was killed by his sword. His kids killed him, as we'll see. Shma mina, we can see that the amount of people there, when it says the commanders and all these things, that was more than 185,000. So the nest was half of a fella. The mahikam, how did the malach kill them? Rabbi Eliezer Omer, b'yad hikam, he killed him with his hand. Shneimar v'yayisol siyara gdoila asher ha'asam Mitzrayim, right? Hayad shasid lepora b'Sanhedrin. As hayad, the yad. What's the yad? The heyayidiyah. The same yad that what Hashem did in Mitzrayim, that yad will be used to kill Sanhedrin. Rabbi Shua Omer, be'etzba hikam. The malach killed him with a finger. Shneimar v'yomru hachatumim el paroi etzba elokim he. What's lashon he? He etzba. This is the same finger shasid lepora b'Sanhedrin that you'll take retribution from Sanhedrin. Rabbi Eliezer ben Oishel Yosef Lili Omer. Amalei Kodesh Baruch Hu Gavriel, right? Magolcha netusha is your sickle sharp. Amalei Fonav Rabbi Shalom netusha v'imedus v'sheshim ebrachis. It's been sharpened since the beginning of time. Shenemar mifnei charavos nadadu, because they ran from the sword, from the sharpened sword. Rabbi Yishimon ben Yochai Omer Oisei haperek zman bishul peirisaya. That time when this is incredible. That time when Gavriel went to go ahead and to kill Sanhedrin, that wasn't his main mission. That was Derech Agav. It wasn't even his main mission. What was his main mission? That perik was Man Bishul Peris Haya. Amalei Kodesh Baruch Hu Gavriel, listen. Kishata Yoitz Levash Peris. When you go to ripen the fruit, take Yisakik Lehem. Go deal with them. When you go ripen the fruit, by the way, kill a few million people. Guys, you don't make this stuff up. When you go ahead and mivashel the fruit, go kill a few people. Shnemar, midei avru yikach eschem. Again, these psukim are taichem literally. He goes through them to take you. He'll pass through day and night. Vayirak zeva'ov havin shmua. Yeah, Amra Papa. People say, Agav Urcha, that's where it comes from. Agav Urcha, Lebal Devavcha Ishtamai. You happen to pass by, you should go ahead and make yourself known to your enemy.
But Malach can only do one shlichus at a time.
But he's well, again, first he goes ahead and ripens the fruit, and then he goes ahead and he kills them. They do it two separate times. Also, it's two different shlichuses, not the same. Two different things, not the same thing. Well, that's not gooful, but again, that is the problem. But Al-Khairi didn't kill him simultaneously. He said, when you go ahead and do this, take care of them. So he could have taken care of them, and then he could have went and weiter. Others say, that Gavriel breathed into their nostrils, and they died. He blows into them, and then they dry up. Gavriel, he clapped his hands together, and they died. I think, Pshad, guys, it can't be that they died by clapping them because it says biyad, and he's arguing on the one that says biyad. My thing was when he clapped his hands together, like a force, the wind came out or something, came out and killed them. Now all these people, we saw a day, the other day, that there was an opinion that their bodies were burnt, or their clothing was, or they only the neshama was burnt. The bottom line, they all agree upon one thing: they were all dead. They were all dead, right? That's guaranteed. Gavriel opened up their ears. They heard the Chayes HaKodesh being Mishara Kodesh Baruch Hu, and they died. Shnemar meroimim u'mesecha nafsu goyim. Okay. How many people were left over from the army? Ravama Asara, 10 people in Gansen. Shnemar u'sha'or eitz yaru mispar yiyu v'nar yichdeveim. And a nar yichdeveim can write them down. Kama nar yochel lichtov. How much can he write down? Is 10. Rashi says, if you ask a kid to write a letter, a Jewish letter, he's going to write a yud. Anyone can write a yud. It's a little pintle. A yud is numerical 10. So mamish a little yud. Ushmul amar tisha. There were only 9 people left over. Shnemar v'nisha boy aleilos. Right. They'll be left over. Small oilolos are leftover grapes. Kinoikev zayif shnayim ushloisha gargirim bereish amir. Arba b'chamisha b'siyafeha. 4 and 5 in its branches, 4 and 5 is 9. B'shuban levi. I mean, no, Abra Asa Shnemar, Shnayim Ushloisha, Arba b'chamisha. 2 and 3 is 5, and 9 is 14. Rabbi Yechon Amar, Chamisha. Listen to this, Chevra. You want to hear about Hitler and the Bormann and Eichmann, and here's what's left over. Chamisha Sancheriv, Shnei Bonov, Nebuchadnezzar, and Nebuzradan. Part of his army was Nebuchadnezzar and Nebuzradan. Okay, how do we know this? Nebuzradan Gemara, Nebuzradan, we have a Messiah that he was left over. However, Nebuchadnezzar, the Chsiv, Revi de Revia Dome Levar Olim. He said, remember, he was seeing Chanai Mishal Bazai, they're walking around, and he said, and the 4th one looks to me like a Malach. You know which Malach? The one he saw when Sanhedrin wiped them out, when Sanhedrin was wiped out. That's the Ilav de Chazi Mino Haviyada. If you never saw a Malach before, how will you know that the 4th guy is the Malach? Elamat, he saw it when Sanhedrin was wiped out. That's when he saw the Malach. Sanhedrin Shnei how do we know they survived? The Chsiv, Vayehu Mishtachve Beis Nisroich Elokov. Sanhedrin came back to bow down to the Getchka in his base of Avodah Zarah. Va'adar Melech v'Shar Etza Bonov Hiku B'Cherev. And the Ardar Melech and Shar Etza, his sons, they killed him because he was going to kill them. So they killed him. So Amar Avavo Ilmali Mikra Kosav Yeshua Amrei. Okay, let's stop over here. We'll see this tomorrow. We'll see how he does.